Okay.
So, hi, good evening, dear colleagues. We are so sorry we are starting a lot behind schedule. It's due to unplanned technical challenges at our end here, but we're thankful that now we're live. So, right now, I have with me in the studio Madam Nonye Umahi. And I see the first person has joined us, and hopefully others can tell the others that we are now live. We are so sorry. We sincerely apologize for starting behind schedule. That was all my fault, and due to unplanned technical glitches on my end. So I have with me Madam Nonye Umahi, and I'm not going to read her full bio. I'm just going to say that she's an amazing woman, and she's a business enterprise development manager and trainer, and she's the managing consultant for Kwanu Consults Limited, and she was also one of the consultants that produced the first WHO essential
Yeah.
diagnostics list. And amongst so many certifications, she is also uh, like a QMS consultant. So she trains people for both business development as well as quality management systems. So without wasting much time, we're going to get to it. Tonight, what we are here for is how to apply for and win grants. And I want to ask you to stay till the very end because while she will be handling the business aspects tonight, there will still be other aspects that we're going to be handling at the end of the session when she starts answering the questions that we have received, as well as any other questions that might come up on the live chat tonight. So once again, I welcome you, Ma. Thank you very much for this privilege and this honor that you have given us at such short notice to treat with us the Tony Elumelu Foundation Grant questions. And so as we begin, Ma, I don't know if you have any words for us before we start taking the questions and looking at the essentials of how to win, how to apply for and win grants.
All right. Ona, good evening and good evening, dear
Good evening, Ma.
colleagues. I think we'll just hit the road. There's no time any longer. And all I just want to say is well done on all you
Thank you,
do.
Ma.
Once I see
Thank you,
our
Ma.
colleagues that are involved in capacity building in one way or the other, I always try to encourage them because we are all in the same sector, trying to hold each other to be up, and that's why I decided to do this. Right? If anybody gets the fund, I mean, it's credit to me, right? When any of
Yes.
my trainees get back to me and tell me, "Oh, I got the TEF fund," I'm happy. I'm the one even rejoicing more than them, right? So
Mm.
I would want to see a medical lab scientist get the Tony Elumelu fund, and I'm sure going to celebrate it. And I hope that somebody from here will get for this year. So good evening, dear colleagues. So let's hit
Amen.
the road. So Anna has done a great job. She has sent screenshots of the questions. So we'll just be going one after the other. So this is the first stage. It talks about the form, essentially divided into 4 stages, and then the requirements. So Anna will just go straight to the requirements. Next stage. Excuse me.
All right, Ma.
Okay. Next one. Great. So these are the requirements. So these are things. One. Let me say this. I saw it in one of the questions, and I'll still address it. But since this is up now, I'll address it now. Whenever, just like you go into the exam hall and you are given an exam sheet, most people make of the mistake. They go to number one and start answering questions immediately.
Mm.
Supposing the
Mm.
instruction is answer only last question, and maybe the last question is fifth,
Mm.
and you've been there answering from number one to the end.
Mm.
So once
Mm.
you're applying for anything, the first thing to do is to read instructions, starting from the very beginning, starting from the space. Just make sure there's nothing in the space. Hold the paper like this,
Mm.
or if it is online, touchlight it like this and look.
Mm.
Most people miss out on that. Instructions, very important.
Mm.
And these things have chatbots, AI bots. So because there are huge applications, you can imagine hundreds of thousands of people in Africa are applying. So if
Mm.
you don't stick to those requirements, the chatbots and the AI bots will automatically take away your application.
Mm.
So
Mm.
please learn to keep to some of these.
Instructions.
requirements. Okay,
Mm,
so let's go
mm,
through some of them that we have here. The first thing is your government ID. I want to believe that everybody here has a
okay.
government ID because you can't even be working. Most of us are working for government. You're working for a private facility, the same thing. All these things you can't do them without having an ID, and this is one of them
Mm,
that you should have.
okay.
Okay. Then the
Mm,
second one is your registration certificate. If you are going to queue as a registered business, that's you
business.
started business, you're existing. Because in the form,
Mm,
there's a portion to answer whether you are it's a startup, or you just have an idea, or it's already an
mm,
existing business. So the way it works, if once you click that you're an existing business, you would have to
mm,
put in your certificate. And that's the challenge. You see now, some of us are doing business, but our businesses are not registered. And it
mm.
takes nothing to register. You can get your registration in a minimum of 1 week or 2 weeks. All you
Ma, can
need
I ask a
is to
question, ma?
get to,
Ma, can I ask
yes,
a
please,
question,
on
ma?
this. Go ahead.
Does the type of business
Yes.
that somebody registers actually determine whether you can get grants? Is it all kinds of registration that is suitable for grants, or do you have to do a specific type of registration before you can qualify for certain grants? Like for this Tony Elumelu Foundation Grant,
Okay.
does a business name,
Okay.
does it have the same should I say, is it eligible for this kind of grant, or is
Let
it
me
only
answer.
limited
Let me
liability?
answer you.
Okay, ma'am.
Uh-huh. So this is one of the things I said you can learn in a crash course. There are
Okay.
a lot of things you have to consider before you decide on your form of business. And if you can remember
Okay.
your commerce in secondary school and economics, we had four, or rather, we have four forms of business: business name, company,
Mm,
partnership, and cooperative. And now,
mm,
your type of business idea can either run, most times it's either as a business name or company. But if you're going to have a
company. Yeah.
partner, like you can see on this form, on this page, you can see where it's written
Yeah.
number 6, partner's consent. If you
Mm,
register the business as a
yeah.
partner, then it's going to be different. That means there's an MOU. Okay, for instance, let's
Mhm.
assume you're going to set up a diagnostic firm.
Laboratory.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yes, and you, which we have been clamoring for. Maybe you, like now you are Kempat, you go get a micro person,
Mm,
get a histo person, get a hemat person. That's partnership. So do you expect to see their consent? You can see that in number 6. And also an MOU.
mm,
There'll be an MOU because in fact, it's all these things that will now help you to register that company as a partner. Okay? Or let's say
mm,
somebody that is not a medical lab scientist and now got you as a medical lab
mm,
scientist to own a firm, they will expect to see that. So if you're doing something like that, you register partnership, or you can still
mm,
register company if you don't want any other person involved. And according to the revised CAMA means Company and
mm.
Allied Matters Act 1990. It
That's
has been
that.
revised last
Mm,
year, and one person now can own a company. Unlike before, it used to be two people and above. But one person now can
mm,
own a company. But that you own a company doesn't mean you should be the only person to run it. That's why we make a mistake. You must have a management team. And then you now have the
mm,
business name where only one person owns it. Even the bank account is in your name and all that. However, there are different things, just like we said, you have to learn about these forms of business. For instance, there are type of businesses you can do with business name. For instance, if
that's
you're going
true.
to liaise with government, government does not deal with business name. So,
Very
and
true. Mm,
question I always ask people: how do you know when you get a government contract?
mm-hmm.
How?
Mm-hmm.
You never know. It can be an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity that just comes, and you will lose it because you registered your
Because
business as a
you didn't
business name.
register, yeah, limited liability
You
company.
see? Exactly.
Mm,
So these
mm,
just in a nutshell the bits and bits about the three of them. The fourth one is cooperative. Of course, you can't use a cooperative to get this kind of
to
Tony
get
Elumelu
kind of
uh,
grants. Mm,
fund. Okay. So what I always advise people, go for company, because you never know the opportunity you are going to get. Especially as a medical lab scientist, our business is high tech. Okay,
mm,
it's high tech. Okay, and then for those of you that are not doing medical lab business, still fine. I always advise, go for company. You may get a business, I mean a government you need to do business with, or a big company. Blue chip companies,
mm,
they don't do business with business name. It has to be a
mm,
company. So if government
mm,
has reduced the requirement to one person, what is
mm.
delaying you or rather preventing
From
you from registering a
registering
company.
your
All you have
company.
to do is to get a management team. All right.
Mm.
So I hope that answers that question.
Yes,
So like,
thank you very much, ma.
you're
Yes, ma.
welcome.
And
So
the good thing about this Tony Elumelu grant is that they even gave the opportunity for those who have not yet registered. That if
exactly,
it's only an
step
idea
up,
you still have, still
register it.
apply for this thing.
Yes. When
It's
you get
not
to class,
necessary
they
that
will
okay,
take you.
it's only those who have registered that can apply.
Exactly. Because you can have a
Mm.
fantastic idea, and ideas
Yes,
rule the world. Business is
yes.
all about idea. So
Mm.
that's it. So even if you've not started, you can put it as an idea. And then part of
Mm.
what you're going to be taught in this business class is how to now register and do all that. But if you're already
Okay.
registered, started, please go and look for an accredited lawyer. There are a whole lot of them. If you have problem getting one, contact me. Okay, through
Mhm.
honor, right? Contact me through honor, and I'll recommend a lawyer for you to do that for you. Okay, that's all it takes. You don't even need to meet the person physically. All you need is to give the person all the requirements that they need. Within 1 week, you have your business registered, because that's part of
Wow.
what the government has done about increasing the positives in the business environment. Before, it used to take forever to register
Mm.
businesses, but no longer now. Okay,
Okay.
and then you can see um, tax registration, tax registration certificate. The good thing about registration now is that when you register, you don't need to go to FIRS. Before,
Okay.
when you register your business, you go to FIRS to get your TIN. Now, as you
Okay.
are registering, your TIN is embossed on your CAC certificate.
Yes, certificate.
You don't have
Okay.
any need going to FIRS. All you need to do is to now go to FIRS office, and
Mm.
later on when you are set, and register, and then get your Promax portal. Your Promax
Mm.
portal is where you will now be paying your tax from. You don't need to
That's
go to, once you set up that Promax, you don't need to go to FIRS office again. Every
okay.
month you file. Okay.
Mm.
As
Mm.
and you must file even if you are not making profits, because the new law says you pay tax only if you are making 25 million naira and above. But even if
Oh,
you're not making, yes, that's the new law.
okay.
That's why I say people need to go for trainings and learn these things. That's the new law. If you're
Okay.
not making 25 million, you don't pay company tax. You still
Wow.
pay income tax, so payee. That one
Okay.
goes to the states.
Okay.
Like if you're doing your business in Benue State, you deduct
Mm.
payee, which is the employees from his employee's salary, like the ones
Salary.
our
Okay.
government people, the one they are deducting for your
Okay.
government work. You pay that one to the state internal revenue. But
Revenue. Okay.
company tax goes to the federal
Mm.
government,
Okay.
FIRS. So
Yes.
that is the TIN number, that FIRS
Okay.
TIN number that is now embossed on certificates now. So that's the beautiful
Okay.
thing about registering business now. One-stop shop
Mhm.
for both your CSC and your TIN.
Mm.
Then you're also going to need a reference letter, because I mean, they're going to pass the money through your bank. And the bank is the one that is going to say, yes, we know this business, they are doing well, and we've been
Mm.
banking for them, and this is what their books look like. But
Mm.
unfortunately, some of us do business, we don't even have accounts. Maybe the business is doing well and it's cash, people are paying. There's no
Mm.
evidence. So what I tell
Mm.
people, when you collect cash in a day, even if it is 1 naira, let it hit
Yeah.
your business
Bank
account. Then
account.
you can
Mm.
withdraw. Immediately you are lodging it in, then you withdraw. Let it be captured. Either you use your check, or you use your mobile app, or you use ATM, you withdraw. Okay? But let it hit the account first
Account.
before you spend
Wait.
it. If not, it is not
Mm-hmm.
captured. Okay,
Okay.
all right. So let's go to the next one. Now, I've talked about the partner consent. I've already talked about that one. If the
All
business
right.
is a partnership, you must get consent from the partners you set up the business with. Okay, next.
Okay.
So we now go to the form proper. So the first thing you have here is personal information. After that, business information. After that, you are going to do some tests. So this one, there's not, it's not an academic exercise. These are part of the test we do when we do recruitment. Okay.
Mm.
So by the time you get there, you just answer the questions as they are, and they'll find out the kind of person you are. The reason why they do this is that there are certain types of businesses that are suited for certain type of personalities. Okay, so by
Mhm.
the time they do that test, they will find out, and that will guide them when you get into the next stage. And then, of
Okay.
course, the last stage, declaration. Most forms, when you fill, especially grants, of course, you have to make some declarations, maybe things like what I put in is the truth and nothing but the truth, or something, you abide by terms and conditions, and that's the end of the application. So let's look at it one after the other. So the first one is your title, which we know, your normal, whether you are Mr., Mrs., and rest of that. You put in your surname next. Then the
Yes,
next
ma'am.
one is your social media. You see, this
Mm.
one is enough to take you off.
Mm.
Because these days, the only way we look at even the business plans that we do, Mark, sometimes some people reach us and they say they want to give, let me give a particular example. An NGO reached me, the owner is a lady. She celebrated her 40th birthday, and she said she wants to empower 40 businesses with
Okay.
50, I think it was it 50,000 naira or 40. That if you multiply, it was 2 million naira in all for 40 women, 40 outstanding women, 50,000
That's
naira each.
50,000
And
naira.
a lot of
Mm.
people applied.
Mm.
Yes, a lot of people applied, but do you know what was her screening? What she told us to use and judge with? Social media. She told all of them to submit their social media handles. And you can't lie about it, because once we go to your social media page, we will see the date you posted. So if you
So
started posting after the call for application, we will
what was
know.
she checking on the social
So
media?
when we want to see
What
that
were
your
the
social media
keys?
handle has been active.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
What
So they
I
want active
Okay, let me repeat
account.
what I said.
Mm.
Yes, we want active account. We don't want to go to your social media and handle, and the post we see there is 1 year ago, 9 months ago. Don't you see it sometimes when you go to some handles? Six
Yes, they are,
months
they are, they
ago,
are monitoring
3 months
spirit.
ago.
Monitoring
Yes,
spirit
so
on
they are
social
monitoring
media.
spirit, oh, because it's grants. Hello, that's the difference between grant and loan. Okay?
Mm.
Grant, you are not paying back. It's dash. Loan, you will
Mm.
pay back. So that dash, you must prove that you will earn it. That's why these forms
Deserve
are
it.
very long. This one is even
Mm.
small. There are some
Mm.
forms you will fill 2 hours, you are still filling it. Oh. Two
Mm.
hours. Then some you have to stop and come back the following day, because
Mm.
they want to make sure that you deserve that free money.
That free
It's
money.
not easy.
Mm.
$5,000. Yes, it's a lot. You in this Nigeria, if you calculate $5,000, do you know how much that is in Nigeria? So
Mm.
please, if you know you have social media handle and it's not
Mm.
active, I'm not discouraging you. But I'm just telling you, I'm giving you expo. It will be by God's grace if you are taken into the next stage. If the competition is too much, because these are the things they look at. The only thing that may
Mm.
be your saving grace is if your idea is fantastic, then
Mm.
that will be part of the things they will now teach you
Teach
during
you
the training. Okay,
training.
but if your
Okay.
idea is not fantastic, there are many people doing what you are doing, and then they notice you are not
Mm.
on social media. Now to pack one corner. Then
Mm.
let me talk about the two things they are asking for now: LinkedIn, Facebook. Most of us are
Mm.
on Facebook. How many of us are on LinkedIn?
Mm.
Severally, I have done trainings for LinkedIn for our colleagues. How many people came on board? How
Mm.
many people, even free ones, how many people came on board? It looks somehow that you call yourself a professional, and a professional platform like LinkedIn, you are not there.
Mm.
So let's
Mm.
assume you're applying for this Tony Elumelu fund and you're not on LinkedIn. What will you put in there? It will be empty. So these
Mm.
are all the little things that will take off mark from you, because they expect you to be there as a professional. LinkedIn
Mm.
and X, those are the two professional platforms for professionals. And then of course Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and the rest of them are for everybody. Okay, so I want to believe they are asking for Facebook because Facebook is the largest social media platform, and then LinkedIn because they want to see they don't see your career path. They want to see how serious you are. So it's a bit of your social life and a bit of your serious life that they want to have a look at. Okay.
You have
So if you
it.
have it up
Okay.
running, it's a plus for you. That means they are going
Mm.
to see a lot of things. Okay. Next one.
Okay. Okay.
So we go to business profile. You put in your company name. Okay. Either business
Mm.
name or company name. That's what they mean by that. Then you're going to
Okay.
click on country and select your country. And then, and of course, I don't need to tell you that number of Nigerians that are applying are the highest,
Mm.
right? Because Tony Elumelu
Yeah.
is from Nigeria, so the information
Yeah.
is more here. Every year, the greatest applicants come from Nigeria, so the competition is tough. So you have to
Mm.
prove really that your idea is good. Then you put in
Mm.
your town, not your where you come from, or where you are
Okay.
residing, where the business
Okay.
is. Rather, let me put it that way, because
Okay.
you may be residing in Oyo and your business is in Ibadan. So where your
Mm.
business is located is where you will put
Mm.
in. If you have a website,
Okay.
company
Okay.
website there as well. Next
Mm.
one.
Slide. Okay, let me go back to 8. Okay.
All right. So the next is now about yourself.
Mm.
Uh-oh. Sorry. Okay, one jump. Is this the next? The one with streets? Is that the next one?
Yes, I think it's after website, city town website.
Okay. Okay. Yes, I
Yeah.
think okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Continue. Go to the next. Then you put in the street address. Okay, and put in the correct address. Please, these little things matter because this is how they are going to do due diligence. They don't want to be calling somebody to verify something for them. Put in your
Mm.
correct street address. Okay, put in your state, put in your postal code. If you don't know your postal code, Google is your friend. Just put in
Mm.
your address where you are living in
On Google.
with the
Mm.
town. Okay, for
Mm.
instance, if you are in Shagamu, you put your address and then put Shagamu and put postal code. You see it will come
Mm.
out, and then you copy and paste and put here. Then you
Mm.
now select whether you are in the urban area or rural area. Of course, you know what that means. Urban, if you are living in the state capital or a popular city in the
Mm.
state that you can call urban. For instance,
Mm.
if you go to where will I use an as an example? Like Anambra State. For in Anambra State, yes, Oka is the capital, but Onitsha is also urban. You can't call Onitsha
Rural.
rural, right?
Okay.
So depending on how your state is, where your
Mm.
business is located, you select whether it's in a rural or urban area.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Then you now go to where you start talking. And the first one is about me. And please
Mm.
always read what they have in top. You can see the first one is 50 words, 200 marks. And the second one is 50 words, 100 marks. So all of them are not the same. Oh. Remember what I said about the instruction?
Mm.
Always read so that you don't go through. And most of these things, once you are typing, I don't know how this one is, but in most cases, when you are typing, to be telling you how many word counts you already have. That's how they usually work. So tell me about yourself, personal bio, and what led you to become an entrepreneur.
You
Please
know.
don't say any rocket science story here. Oh. Be real as possible. If you know what made you, don't concoct any story to shine like Voltron, Defender of the Universe. Make it real, very real. What made you? Because there, they will know whether actually you started business because you wanted to solve a problem, whether you
Mm.
wanted to fill a need, fill a gap,
Mm.
or add value. Because these are the four things you do as an entrepreneur. You
Mm.
fill a gap,
Fill a
you
gap.
fill a need, you add
Need.
value, and you
Add
solve
value.
problem. These
Solve
are
a
the four things.
problem.
Yes.
Mm.
So that's what they want to see. What led you? So that thing that led you, are you doing any of these four things as a result of
As a result of
becoming an
that.
entrepreneur? Yes.
Mm.
And then when you are
Mm.
talking about yourself, they don't want to see what is on your CV. They have that already. When somebody tells you, tell me about yourself, they want to know what type of person are you. Then
Mm.
personal bio, you can now talk a bit about your background, okay,
Mm.
what you read, and maybe if you've done some certifications that will speak to the kind of the business that you are doing, okay. And then
Okay.
I will advise if you let 60% of this portion be on why you want to be an entrepreneur.
Why?
That's what I
Okay.
advise you.
Okay,
Yes,
should be on my why. What
yes,
is
because
your why?
there are three
Why
things
are
here.
you in this business? Okay.
Yes, there are three
Okay.
questions here. Tell me about yourself, personal bio, and what led you to be an entrepreneur. So I will advise 50 to
Okay.
60% of what you are going to put in here should be about the last part, which is what
Mm.
led you to become an
Mm.
entrepreneur. Then the second one, the next one is personal achievement. And it says, tell us
Mm.
something impressive you have personally built or achieved. So look out for initiatives you have done. Those
Mm.
initiatives you are very proud of.
Mm.
And in most cases, you were the only one that developed it, ran it, And then if it has concluded, concluded, or if it is still ongoing, still ongoing. Because that tells them you're ambitious. Because an entrepreneur one has to be ambitious. They can't give you $5,000 for free, and you are not an ambitious person. So they want to
So
see the achievements you've made in life. For you to be an entrepreneur, you must have made an achievement. Because I mean, it's not a walk in the park to be an entrepreneur. You are both the cleaner and to the end being the CEO and everything in between it. Okay, so they want to
so
see how
now,
long.
what kind of achievements are they talking about? Can it be something small?
Everywhere.
Can it
It
be
can be
something
in the
small like,
family,
okay,
it can
I
be in the
was
family,
in,
it can be in your studies, it can be in your leadership position in any group that you do belong to. It can be
okay,
something that you just started, a small project that you just started that is out of the world. What the point I'm trying to make is that it doesn't have to be business.
okay,
Achievement doesn't have to be business. They just want to see how ambitious are you. It's an extension of tell us about yourself.
okay,
This section is an extension, but here is now what is that fantastic thing that you have done that is like a
mhm.
wow. Okay?
Wow, okay.
All right. Next. Then the next one is detailed description about your products. That's your good or your service, whichever one you are now applying about. This is where you will now talk about it in a way that you will captivate the mind of the person reading it to decide to invest in you. Okay?
Mm,
Next.
okay.
Take note of the word counts. Okay, next. I've talked about this, so let's go. Leadership. So this is where you're going to say describe your leadership skills and experience for running the business. So this is two in one again. You're going to talk about the leadership skills that you have.
Okay.
If you know the leadership skills you have, you put them down there. If possible, your style of leadership, you put it down there, because part of running your business is being a leader, because you're going to have staff. So they want to
Mm.
know a bit of what kind of leadership skills do you have.
Do you
And then you
have?
now connect that, yes. And they
Mm.
said, describe your leadership skills and experience for running the business. How experienced are you to run that business that you're running or
Mm.
about to start? So this is
Mm.
what you are going to talk about in this column. Your leadership skills and your experience in leadership. Then the
So, Ma,
next one is, yes, please.
in this area, the kind of leadership skills, are they talking about skills like maybe ability to delegate, ability to,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
multitask,
Delegate, be comfortable.
multitask,
Yes, lead your
okay,
team well. Okay, be
okay,
a team builder. You know all the functions of a leader.
leader, okay.
Your
So
emotional
one can
intelligence,
just,
showing empathy, all those
okay,
things, all those being able to take positions. Do you understand? Taking
yes, ma'am.
critical, what's it called, constructive criticism. You know all those kind of things. They want to see the type of skills that you have, and when you are listing them, it will be great if you can mention maybe in the experience part of the question. You now mention where you have used one of those skills. They would
So
like
it's
to see.
better to write it in story format, not just list.
Yes, you
It's
can
better
list.
to
Yes,
write
the
it
first
as a
part.
story.
The first part you can list,
Okay.
because that's why I said describe.
Mm.
Describe
That's
your
like
leadership
story. Mm.
skills, yes,
Okay.
and the experience for running the business. So
Mm.
you not per se listing one after the other. You can be
Okay.
listing and writing like in a short form, a short
Okay.
sentence for
Okay.
each of the skills. And by doing that, you are forming a story.
Okay.
Even before you get to where you now talk about your experience very well. Or
Mm.
if you want, if you are a very good writer, you can
Mm.
intertwine the two. As you are talking
Okay.
about each skill, you are adding your experience with
Where
that
you
skill
used it.
and going.
Mm.
Exactly. So
Mm.
whichever way you want to go about it.
Mm.
Okay. All
Okay.
right.
Mm.
Then we go to elevator pitch. You can
Mm.
see this one is 30 words. You see why I said always look to know the requirements. 30 words. And what is an
Anyway.
elevator pitch? An
Mm.
elevator pitch, just like the name says, is, an elevator. The
Yeah.
highest you can spend in an elevator is sometimes 1 minute,
Yes, ma'am.
some two
Mm.
minutes, some 3 minutes. Then if it's a skyscraper, maybe 5 minutes to
Mm.
6 minutes.
Mm.
So an elevator pitch is, what can you tell a money bag? And a business elevator pitch is, what can
Mm.
you tell a money bag that you
Somebody
jam
very
inside
rich.
an elevator
Mm.
in such a way that within 1 to 3 minutes, depending on how long you are staying in that elevator, the person can decide to invest in you.
Mm. Mm. That's a
That's what
tough
an
one.
elevator pitch.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
So that is what an
Mm.
elevator pitch is. What can
Mm.
you tell a money bag, an investor, you found in an elevator? So that before you people disperse from, because when you come out of the elevator, you are going to, or different sections you are going to on that floor. So what can you
Mhm.
tell that person that within 1 to 3 minutes, the person can decide to invest in you? So
Mm.
that is what an elevator pitch is. So that means it's going to be short. That's why you see
Very
30
sure.
words. It's been
Mm.
reduced.
Mm.
So tell them why they should invest in you. So you're going to crop in a bit of your competitive advantage here. We are going
Okay.
to crop in a bit of what we call your unique selling points. I know if you've attended a business training, you understand what that is. Your USP. What makes you different?
From
What
all the
makes
other
you different?
products. Mm.
Yes, those that
Okay.
are competing
Mm.
with you, especially
Mm.
if you are not the only person in that industry.
Mm.
If you're not the only person in that industry, how are you going to convince them to invest in you? That is what an elevator pitch is. And you can see minimum
Wow.
30, maximum 50. So next one.
Mm.
Wow us. What is new,
Mm.
interesting, or different about your product or service? So this is like an extension of that elevator pitch. You can see this one
Mm.
is 50 words and maximum 200. So this is where you're going to elaborate, because the elevator
Mm.
pitch was just a pitch, so it's short. Here,
Mm.
you will
Mm.
now elaborate about that unique selling point. And I will tell you
Points.
how
Mm.
to crop a unique selling point. A unique selling point
Okay.
has three things, and I wouldn't know if that is what
Okay.
they're asking for. The pain you're going to solve for the customer, the
The
gain the
pain.
customer will
The
gain from
gain.
you, and then
Mm.
what is the profile of your customers? So I repeat, pain. What problem are you going
Pain.
to solve for your potential customers,
Customers.
clients?
Okay.
Gain.
Mm.
What are they going to
Mm.
gain from you as a result of that your business
Mm.
idea? And then
Mm.
thirdly, what is the demography of your clients? What is the
Client.
persona of your
Mm.
potential customer?
Mm.
Because the persona can be what will sell for you. For instance, the
Mm.
example I like to use in my business class was the very first business I started, which was wholesale bread supply, Big Treat. For those of you that know Big Treat bread, that's the
Mm.
first business that I started. What was
Mm.
my persona? My persona, the persona of my customers is that my customers were oil company workers.
Okay.
Oil company workers. So they could afford, even though that bread was the most expensive in Port Harcourt, but because the area I was supplying is where these oil workers live. So that
Mm.
customer profiling became a plus for me, because we
Mm.
even had a bakery in that location. Cheaper.
Mm.
Cheaper. That bread was 150. Meanwhile, Big Treat bread was 230. But people
Mm.
still prefer to go for Big Treat bread. Look at the difference in the
Mm.
price.
Mm.
Why? Because they are the elite, they are
Mm.
concerned about their hygiene, so they can't
Mm.
go to a local bakery to go and buy bread.
Mm.
In fact, there used to be sand in that bread safe. So can you imagine
Mm.
an oil worker buying bread that has sand? And
Fine.
then
Mm.
the third part of it, they were the first to start putting bread inside nylon in Port Harcourt on the Bear
Wow.
Road. So
Wow.
it was part of it. So if you buy bread, you are sure of a
Mm.
customized nylon, not just black and white or yellow
Black
and
and
black.
white.
Do you
Mm.
understand? So that is enough. So that's why I said sometimes when you do the persona of your potential client, you find out that it's enough to be a unique selling point for you. Okay? So those
Mm.
are the three things that make a very fantastic unique selling point. So that
Point.
is what you're going to use to wow them,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
About what your business idea is about. So next, Next.
It's on now, man.
This is
Okay,
we've
next
passed it.
one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we've passed this one. Wow
Okay.
us. So
All
next.
right. Okay. Maybe it was a repeated slide.
Yes, repeated slide. So
Okay.
just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Aha. Problem solved. What problem does your
Mm.
products or service solve? So do you see what why I was saying that an entrepreneur does? You solve problem.
Mm.
So this is where you're going
Yeah.
to give detail of how your good or your service is solving a problem. So
No
you detail it
problem.
here. Okay? All right. So next. So this is the place where you are going to upload your registration certificate. But before then, there's an icon, but I think there's a place where the pop-up will come up to select whether you are an existing or a new
Yeah.
business. So you
Business.
just
Yeah.
go and select.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
What I selected was that I already have a business so that I can get the other questions.
Exactly. So that's it. So
Mm.
you have to be careful what to select here. Then you go ahead to upload your registration certificate because you have already said you are an existing business. And
Mm.
then evidence of your directors in your report. There's a report, status report you will get when you register. That is what you are going to upload here. Okay?
Mm.
So you upload the CSC document and upload the status report that was given to you when you registered.
Mm.
Next. Is your business operational? And then of course you choose yes if you are already operational. If no, you choose no. And then official evidence of business ownership. That is still okay. There are three documents you get when you register your
Mhm.
business. One is the CAC
Okay.
document certificate.
Mm.
One is the status report, and
Mm.
one is I think memorandum of article.
Memorandum of article, MEMAS,
Yes,
yeah.
good, MEMAT. So
Mm.
there is where you have the official. There's one of them has the official evidence that you are the owner of the business. Where you put in the if there are a number of you there, then the different percentage of shares will
Shares,
be
yeah.
listed there. So that's what they are asking
Yeah.
for. So those
Mm.
three documents are what you are going to upload here. The
Okay.
first one,
Mhm.
the second one, and the third one. Then the fourth one
Mm.
is if you have partners. That's what they're asking for here, the
Okay.
consent of your if your business is partnership, then you have to upload the consent by your partners here. Next.
Okay.
So this is the drop down for
Yeah.
select your business stage. So if it's just an idea that has come to your
Mm.
mind, you select idea. If you
Mm.
have started, okay, maybe like a
Mm.
year 2 years, you select infancy startup. If you've gone 2 years and
Mm.
above, I'll advise you to put in intermediate because you are growing.
Mm.
You're already growing. If you
Mm.
established maybe 5 years and above, before Tony Elumelu Fund used to be for 0 to 3 years in business. So maybe they have changed
Mm.
that now with this.
Mm.
So if you're advanced, then of course you put in that you're advanced. If they are going
Mm.
to consider different categories, for instance,
Yeah.
idea stage, infancy
Mm.
stage, growth stage, and advanced stage, then it will favor you. So whichever one you are in, it's always good, whatever you are in, say the truth so that you
Mm.
not have complications when they start asking for some certain documents. Okay?
Documents.
All
Okay.
right. Yes. So let's
So,
go.
Ma, I wanted to ask, what is growth or intermediate stage? Is it
Yes,
like
growth
the
intermediate.
is it is
You
it
are
is
about
it
to expand.
defined by revenue you're making or by number of years?
It depends.
Okay.
Sometimes you can maybe your business is like you are the only one doing that thing. If you're the only
Mm.
one doing that thing, you could be already in your growth stage by the second year.
Okay.
That means there are a lot of customers. That means the money is a lot. You've made a
Mm.
lot of revenue, but you don't have money
Mhm.
again to get more working capital. For
Mm.
instance, let's assume you decide to make a diagnostic kit, and the kit you
Mm.
are making is very rare. I can
Mm.
bet you that within 1 year, you are going to have a lot of demands and you will need to grow. And you start looking
Mm.
for money to grow. So that means you are
More
at a good
investors.
stage, even though you are just
Mm.
1 year. Yes, because your
Mm.
kit will be less expensive than the imported ones. So far, they
Mm.
are of standard anyway.
Mm.
If they are of international standard, it will be in demand. So even though
Mm.
you are just 1 year, you feel in growth stage because that is where you now need money. But
Mm.
if it's a business like what's it called, medical lab, like the same medical laboratory that everybody is opening, I
Mm.
mean, if you are still like 2 3 years, you should call yourself a startup. Oh. You
Mm.
call yourself a startup, especially if you've not gotten ISO. It's only
Mm.
maybe if you've gotten ISO within that 2 to 3 years, you can now put growth, because then you set out yourself, and then more people will start coming. Because once you do accreditation, your place becomes like market. People, you automatically have more clients. But if you
Mm.
don't have ISO and you're like 2 3 years, you are still at infancy as far as I'm concerned. You're at infancy. You'll be like from 3 4 years. Except maybe if you're in an interior area where you're the
Mm.
only lab there, then you can actually be a startup. Oh. I mean, you can actually do 1 year and you are growing because you are the
Mm.
only one there. All right. So to
Mm.
answer your question, sometimes it can be a function of your revenue, and
Okay.
sometimes it can be a function of how many years, and sometimes it can be a combination of the
Oh,
two.
good.
But the
Okay.
business owner, when answering this question, always knows which stage he or she is at,
Mm. That.
with what
Okay.
is happening in the business at that time. Okay. All right. So
Okay.
next, then you now state the sector that you are in. I'm assuming
Mm.
here they will have things like health,
Mm.
finance, professional
Mm.
service, digital this, and so you
Yeah.
select which one
Mm.
you are in. If it's
Mm.
something related to health, of course you choose health. If it's not, then you choose something else.
Oh,
Then
when I checked the options, I saw biological and biomedical science, but then there was now health professions and others. So I was
yes,
like,
this,
why is biomedical with biological?
yes, because it's possible. If you are doing vaccine, that's where you fall, because vaccine
Okay.
is a biological. Yes.
So
If you are doing
it's not
anything,
health professions. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
If you are
Mm,
doing
that's true. Mm,
yes, so please learn this, because that's how you differentiate yourself. Because if they
mm,
have many people somewhere, if you are very smart and you know your own falls under something, you know many people will not be there, you put that one so that you can be selected. If you are doing something
mm,
like biotech, of course you fall in
mm,
there. If what you are doing is
mm,
pure biotech, you fall in there.
mm.
Do you
Okay.
understand? Than going into core health, because what you are doing
Mm,
is actually biotech. So they are right
mm.
in putting up the two things. Okay.
Okay, ma.
Yes.
Okay.
Then SDG goals, of course, you know what the SDGs are. There are 18 of them. And these
Yeah.
days, there's no organization that doesn't do anything that is linked to SDG. So you select the drop down and look at the ones that speak to what you are doing. I think health is three. Then you now
Number
look at
three, yeah. Mm,
yeah, you now look at other things that speak to other SDGs that speak to the type of business that you are doing. Okay, if you are going
okay.
to employ people, you select the one that speaks to employment. If
Mm,
it's something that is maybe you are doing a product like menstrual pad, you select the one that talks about women,
mm,
right? So these are the issues. So you, depending on your type of business, you will determine what to select. Next one.
okay.
Then the subsector. So here, let's say from for instance, that means under health, for instance, and you now see a lot of things there. Maybe they
Mm,
are going to have imaging, medical
yeah.
laboratory, clinical service, and the rest of them. Then for that biological, you also see just like that. Okay. Next.
Mm,
Okay, we've passed here. Next. Next. Go back. Aha. Company structure. Is your
mm,
company registered? Yes or no? Do you have
mhm,
partners? If you have, you put. If you don't, you say no. What is your
mm.
primary role? Select what is your primary role in the business. I'm guessing here they maybe they'll ask something like
They had
CEO.
CEO, COO, and then a
Good,
third one. Mm,
good. Because sometimes you can be fronting for a business, but you've employed a CEO.
yeah.
Maybe you don't have time, right? So if you don't
Mm,
have the time, another person you can be. That's one mistake people make. That you own a business does not mean you must be the CEO. Does
yeah.
not mean you must be the COO, especially when you
Mm,
don't have the time. You employ the right people that will do the job for you and just remain as a business owner. Most business people,
mm,
that's what they do. And they'll earn money as
mm,
directors. because directors earn money, earn dividend. That's where they get their money from,
Mm.
dividends. Okay, all right. After they get the retained earning, so you put in the one that suits you, and then employees. How many contractual and full time do you have? So there's a column for contracts, there's a column for part time, and there's a column for full time. So the difference for some of you that may be confused, the difference between contractual and part time is part time is something like maybe somebody that works like 4 hours in a day,
Okay.
then that means it's part time, or
Mm.
2 times in a week, something like that, part time.
Mm.
Contract is the person just comes, maybe does the work for about once in a month and goes. Is shorter than part time. Okay, that's what contract is. Just like the word says, a contract. The
Mm.
person is not on your schedule. The person is paid one off. So that's what contract means.
Yes.
Next, have we passed here? Okay, we've passed here. Next,
Okay.
are you
Impact
sure we didn't
potential.
miss
I mean,
something? No, go
market.
back.
Okay.
Go back. Let's see if we missed something. Okay, continue. We didn't. Move forward. Market. When you are
Mm.
submitting your business grant application or loan application, there are
Mm.
3 areas that your investors look at or your funders. Number
Mm.
one, your market.
Mhm.
Number two, your numbers. That is the finances. Number three, your management team. In
Mm.
fact, maybe that I will check and see the questions they have under management. For some people, they don't even bother with your market. They don't bother with your finances. They are only bothered with your management team.
Mm.
And it makes sense because if you have a robust management team, they will market you well, and then
Mm.
they are going to have a good number, because having a good management team means you have somebody in charge of your money, that's your accountant. You have a BDM, business development manager, or executive, or
Mm.
officer in charge of your marketing,
Mm.
aside you the CEO. But you, what do you
Mm.
see in businesses? It is me, myself, and I. It is wrong. Especially when you are not, you don't even have a finance background. If you don't have a finance background, how will you come up with the financials that are going to show your
Mm.
investors?
Mm.
If you've not studied marketing before, how are you going to market your product? Who is going to do surveys? Who is going to do
Mm.
market entry? Who is going to develop your marketing plan? I
Mm.
will still get to that because I want to believe there should be a section for management. So let's look at market. So here it says addressable market. How big is the addressable market for your product or service? That is, if you are reading about businesses, you hear them say the market, maybe something like the toothpick market in Nigeria is what so million dollars. That's what they're asking for here. So you have to
Okay.
dig out that fact and find out how much the market is worth, and say how much of that, what percentage you realistically want to capture
Okay.
with your business. Yes. So these are the things they want
Mhm.
to hear in this section. With a bit of,
Mm.
I don't know if there's another section for market survey, but if there's no section for market survey, then you're going to tell them the results you got from your market survey. That's what they
Mm.
want to see here.
So they
Because
want to see that the applicant has done a survey of the people
yes,
that are likely to use their product.
yes. Uh-huh.
Mm.
That's why this application opened just since January. There's a
Mm.
reason for that, so that if you need to do all these surveys, at least you have up to 2 months to do that.
Mm.
Okay? Or even before then, because everybody knows that Tony Elumelu starts in January and ends usually end of February or first week of March. Everybody knows that. Okay? If you can't do a primary search, you can do a secondary one using
Google.
journals,
Okay.
internet, and any other material you can get.
Okay.
Then the next one is your marketing strategy. Now that they know the size of your market, they will now be interested.
Mm.
What is your plan
Mm.
to penetrate the markets? Because
Mm.
obviously you may have competition. You are not the only one that is doing
Mm.
that type of business. So you can see what
Mm.
it says here. Explain how you intend to, or if you already do. that is for those that are already existing. Market your product or service to your target market. Because remember, I've told you, you have to say what percentage of the addressable market you want to capture. So here, you're going to say how you're going to address that percentage you have talked about. So here, they will expect you to talk about the P's of marketing. So do you see why I said if you've not done a business training, it will be very difficult for you. So they want to see what your marketing mix, what we call marketing mix. Okay? They want to see your marketing plan. They want to see your marketing mix. Mix is like you have puff puff mix. If you want to do puff puff, you just go and buy it. If you don't have time, just carry, put water inside. That's the end of story. Oh, and go and fry your puff. Gone are those days of mixing things. We have all those things, ready mixes in the supermarket. So the same thing, they want to see what is your mix for your marketing. How have you mixed? What portion of each of the P's have you put in? So if you know you don't have a good understanding of the P's of marketing, please go and study them. And then
What
they
are the P's, ma?
uh,
For
can-
those who are watching.
for those who are watching, that's what I was getting at. I'll
Okay.
just tell you the conventional ones. I won't tell you the other ones. Go and Google to find them. Please
Okay.
don't write the conventional ones. You will fail. The
Wow.
conventional ones is 4 P's. 4 P's is outdated. That was what we learned when we were in secondary school, commerce and economics. So what are those conventional P's? Product, place, promotion, and what's which one didn't I mention? Wait, let me start again. Product, okay, price.
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 Okay.
So products, price, promotion, and the place. So these are the
Yes.
4 conventional ones. So the additional ones: physical evidence, processes, positioning, and people. So go and read these 8 P's of marketing. Read them up and come up with your strategy for each of the P's. And then let me say this:
Wow.
the most important P in your marketing strategy is your product. If your product is not of good quality, it's not outstanding, if it is a good, the packaging is not fantastic, just forget about the other piece, they won't work. If you like, let it be the cheapest. Can you imagine you are selling ugu and your ugu is the biggest, has the biggest leaf, but there's plenty sand on it? Who will buy? Nobody will buy. If you like, drop it to 0 naira. Lie. So what am I trying to say? The most important P in your marketing mix is your products. So when they're looking at your marketing strategy, they want to see what is your strategy for your product. What is, since most of you are in the medical line, if you want to do something of the health in the health sector, what are you doing to make sure that that thing is of quality? If you're opening a lab, for instance, what is your plan for QMS implementation? Because they're going to Google and find out that the standard for a lab is ISO 15189. You're going
I
to
am
make
sure. Yeah.
diagnostic kits. You're going to make consumables. You're going to make reagents. What is your plan for quality? How is it going to compete with the international markets? You can't expect them to put in money when the thing is not of quality. So please pay attention to your product. That is the most important P in your marketing mix. So I've given you 8 of them. So go and read up all of them. So product, price, place, promotion, people, physical evidence,
Processes.
positioning, and processes. Yeah. So they want to see how you are going to bring in a mix of all of them. Promotion is what
Okay.
speaks to your market, your promotion on social media. They want to see your
Social
plan.
media.
What's your plan for social media, right? What's your plan for visibility, right? If it's something that needs to go to media houses or newspapers or do a physical flight, they want to see what's your plan for it. So very, very important, your marketing potential. That's one of the major things that investors look at. Next.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
we've done this marketing
Ah,
strategy. So let's move. Revenue model. So they want to see how are you going to be making money? Is it per unit of the product? Are you going to be selling business to business? Is that the model you are using? Are you going to be using subscription model? That means people will subscribe for, like, for
Mm.
instance, Zoom makes money with subscription model. Every month you pay
Mm.
your money. That's how they make their money.
Subscription model.
Okay? Yes. So what
Mm.
kind of model are you using? What is your unit?
Yes.
Okay? How is it
Mm.
going to be sold? So that is what they want to understand. Because when you tell them this, they can make their projections. Okay, if you sell how many units, you make this. So that's the essence of this question.
Mm.
Next.
So they want to know if they invest in my product
Yes,
or my company,
yes,
how
whether
will they
it's,
get their money back?
yes, they
Mm.
will quickly calculate their
Mm.
break even. They have an idea of break even. Okay, so let's say for
Mm.
instance you say that it's per use, per unit of your product,
Mm.
and one unit costs this.
Mm.
They will quickly do math to know how much you are going to make by the time you sell so amount. So
Mm.
that's how it works. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Next. Who are your competitors? Don't
Mm.
go and say you don't have competitor. You have failed. Every business has a competitor. It's just that you have not found
Competitor.
out.
Yes.
And then let
Mm.
me tell you something about competition. There are two types
Mm.
of competition:
Mm.
um, direct competition and indirect competition. So this is a health
Okay.
group. So I'll use health to give as an example because it concerns all health
Okay.
practitioners. Your fellow lab owner, if you are going to do lab, or imaging owner, if you are going to do imaging, or you are selling diagnostic kits, your fellow people selling your diagnostic kits, those people are your direct competitors. Okay, you
Mm.
own a lab, you own a hospital, your fellow hospital owners and dialysis center owners,
Mm.
they are your competitors. Who are
Competitors.
your
Okay.
indirect competitors? Indirect competitors are
Okay.
what we call substitutes,
Mm.
alternative. And for the health
Mm.
sector, we have a common one: pastors, god of men, like some people will call it, agbo sellers, fake drug sellers.
Okay.
Yes, so
Okay.
especially now that
I
Nigeria
was
is
even
also
thinking you were going to say. I was thinking you were going to say government, and you said I'm go seller.
agbo seller just come, they'll come to your facility, they'll tell you, I want to do test. You not tell them it's 5,000 naira and they were planning for 1,000. They tell you, madam, I'm coming. Are you not doing it again? No. I will go and get agbo. I had a pharmacy come for my training I just finished last week. When we were discussing this, she told me, yes, I'm correct. Oh, that somebody came into her pharmacy and she told her the price of the drug. Somebody that was bitten by something, oh, toxin we are talking about here.
Mm.
Or was it a bad
Mm.
infection? I can't remember. Something very serious. But the poor person didn't have money. So when she heard the price, said, okay, ma, thank you very much. I'll go and get
Mm.
ahibwe. I don't know why you people call it your different. That's scent leaf. That's what we call it in my place.
Mm.
Either you call it ahibwe or ashiwe.
Mm.
Now don't worry, I'll go and get it. I'll wash it. My parents taught me how to wash it very well. When I take it, I'll become well. This is somebody that came to buy drug. Oh. Somebody that
Wow.
came to buy drug. But you can't blame them. That's the
Mm.
economy pulling the little resource that you have. So the poor lady has checked.
Mm.
How much do I have? I will now use that, especially
Mm.
antibiotics. Go and price antibiotics
Mm.
now.
Mm.
They are top there on the
No.
roof. Do you understand? So
Mm.
these are the issues.
Augmentin
So
is so expensive. Yeah.
yes,
Mm.
take note of your
Mm.
indirect competitors.
Mm.
I've mentioned two, the pastors. Some people will tell you we'll go to our church.
Mm.
Don't worry. We'll solve the problem there. We are spending too much here. Oh yeah, let us go.
Mm.
That is your indirect competition.
Mm.
So you have to think of a way
Competition.
of when you're marketing, think of a way of doing things, be it health education, be it outreach, whatever, that will help
Mm.
people to do what? Come to your facility and know that that other alternative that they are going to is not a solution to their problem.
Solution for
Okay?
them. Mm.
So for
Okay.
any health business, you must mention this because these are well, it's the same thing for all of us in the health sector. These people are our competitors. Then for the lab,
So, ma,
oh,
under what category does government fall?
government is not your competitor. Or you mean government hospitals? You mean
I
government
mean
hospitals?
both government hospitals and government policies. like government policies can disrupt somebody's business too.
That one is business environment. That's not what we are talking about here. We are talking
Okay.
about
Okay.
those that, remember what a competition is, those that are doing the same thing you are doing. So what you
Are
can
doing.
do,
Okay.
yes, you can mention here that government facilities are part of your competitors because it's government, so the prices
Okay.
are dropped. For instance, I know in government facility to do malaria is something like whether it's Z500 or 1,000, if I can recall. But if you go to a
Yes.
private
Yeah.
lab to go and do malaria, you can pay as much as 3,000 naira. Some places
Yes.
even 5,000. So
Mm,
you can mention,
mm,
yes, you can mention, okay. But again, you now go to the next section. Do you now see where they say
mm,
differentiating factor? You now put your
mm,
strengths. What are those your
mm.
strengths you have that can make you even surpass your competitors? For instance, the same government people, you will know that people don't
Mm.
even like going to government hospitals. For me, number one in
Because of
particular,
the
I and my family members, I can't remember, except maybe to get government reports for something. Why? Because of time wasting. You go there, they will tell
time.
you pay here. When you pay here, you go there, submit receipt.
Mm,
You submit receipt, you go there, collect number. You go there, collect number. They'll tell you go there to collect container. You'll be going round and round the village because you want to do test. So because of that, a lot of people don't go to government hospitals. Most people go to government
government
hospitals when they don't
hospital.
have any option. But do you know that people borrow?
Option. Mm,
People borrow not to go to government hospital. That's to tell you, if you're in the private
mm,
sector and you are doing the right thing, just go ahead because people
mm.
even borrow to come to your private facility because they know that once they come, the attention is there. You do it sharp, sharp.
Yeah.
They can ask questions, you
Mm,
answer them, and the rest of that. So that's for
mm.
those that are going to feel anything about health service. Okay.
Service.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So even if government is competing with you, these are some of the points you are going to raise to say why private is better than government. Okay.
Mm,
All right.
mm.
So differentiating factor. Okay, that's what I've just explained. You explain what your competitive advantage. That's what we call it. Okay. All right. Next. Okay, we've done this. Next. So
Can
take
you
note
see
of
this?
that competition. What they've asked for is your top three competitors. So if you know the top
Okay.
three people in your industry, that's what you're going to put in there. Okay? Uh-huh.
Okay.
Then when you now get to the other section, you can now start talking about your indirect competitors. Your
Okay.
milestone. How far have you gone? Let's say, for instance, you
Mm,
have opened 3 branches. You put it as a milestone.
mm.
Let's say you registered a
Milestone.
product with a council IVD lab. It's a milestone.
Mm,
You have a drug you are
mm,
manufacturing, you've gotten NAFDAC registration for up to 70%, 80%,
mm,
it's a milestone.
mm,
Okay? So
mm,
it's achievement, business achievements you have gotten. That's what they're asking
mm,
for. Okay?
mm.
Maybe another one again is how many clients or customers you have gotten up to this point. That's
Wow.
also a milestone. Okay?
Mhm.
All right.
Mm,
Next. So the next one is your next milestone. What is that next goal that you want to achieve? Okay, so let's say for instance,
mm,
if you put in your current milestone as we have 500 clients now, your next part of your next
mm,
milestone could be we intend to hit 1,000 clients in 5 years, in 4 years, in 3 years, something
mm.
like that. Okay, or if you've not registered
Okay.
all your products, say you want to finish registering your products by so time, and you now mention if you need money for this, you now mention that is also part of the reason we are applying for this fund
Mm. For this
to
fund.
help you
Okay.
achieve that milestone.
Okay.
Next milestone. Next,
Mm,
this is now the cocoa. You see how they are following each other. I told you three things:
mm,
marketing, finances, and management. Can you see they are following each other?
mm,
So this one now
mm,
is your cash. How much have you invested? So you convert it to dollar.
mm.
And please
Okay.
use bank rates, okay? When you are doing things like this, use
Mm.
or is it parallel market you use? I think you should use bank. Well,
I think it's all close to each other now with the floating policy. So there's
well,
really
there's
not much difference
it's
between
not much different. So
bank
just go
rates
in
and
between. Yes, just go in between and use that. Then break even is when are you going to break even point is when you are not making a profit, you are not making a
A
loss.
lot.
So they want to
Mm,
know how much are you going to make, and then you have broken even. That means you've
mm,
recouped all your costs and now you're not ready
mm,
for profit. So this is the point that investors are interested in, because they want to know when they'll start having returns on their
mm,
investments. Okay?
mm, mm,
All
mm,
right. So break-even volume is the quantity. Let's say, for instance, your break-even revenue is when you have made up to 25, let me say 25,000. Okay? And then your
mm,
break-even volume could be, if one unit of your product is 1,000 naira, then it means your break-even volume will become 25. Do you
okay.
understand? If your break-even revenue is
If you make even
25,000
revenue
naira,
is 25,000,
then and your
one
unit of
product is
input is
1,000.
1,000, then the break-even volume is what? 25.
When you've sold
That's it.
25, that means you've made the break even. Okay, revenue.
Exactly. Next,
Okay.
your monthly
Mm,
expenses. What
mm,
do you spend? And then
mm,
again, this is something you will learn in a business class. A lot of us remove a lot of things in expenses, what we call indirect cost. That money you
mm,
used to buy pure water when you were testing, that money you used to buy
mm,
small recharge card, that money you used to
mm,
send somebody with okada, go and get me this, buy fuel,
mm,
your rent, okay,
mm,
your data, airtime, all these
mm,
things fall under here. So it's not only the cost of your goods, so please remember to put it there. So we have what we call direct material cost, direct labor cost, and indirect cost. So the most times we write only direct cost. So the point I'm making is, please remember your indirect cost, otherwise
cost.
what we call
Mm,
overhead expenses. Make sure all of them are there. But you see the problem, some of us don't even keep records. Some of us, if I ask some of us, how much
mm.
airtime do you use every month? Some of us cannot answer. How
Okay.
much data do you use every month? You can't
So
answer.
they're expecting us to give monthly
Yes.
estimates of actual
Yeah.
expenses.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So you, if you have records, it will help. Do you not calculate?
Mm,
Just go to your record and add up.
mm,
Okay, I'll put a figure there.
mhm,
Next,
okay.
your challenges.
Mm,
Because I mean, that's part of the reason why you're applying for the grant, right? So I
mm,
know we have many challenges, but here they have asked for the top three. So if you know those top
okay.
three challenges you have for setting up your business, or if it's an already existing
Mm,
business for running your business, put the challenges here. Next.
mm,
So what impact? Because Tony Elumelu Fund, if you read it up, it's like an impact fund for social enterprises. And social enterprises
yes, yes.
have impact. It's not just about making profits. If it's about making profits,
Mm,
they will single you out. You won't continue to the next stage. There must be some, so they must see
mm,
something here. What impact? And since all of us are
mm,
health professionals, and I'm suspecting that most of
mm,
the business ideas you are going to put in is towards health sector. So you talk about the impact on
mm,
quality of life, impact on the life of
mm,
Nigerians or Africans, as the case may be.
mm,
You can talk
mm,
about reduction of NCDs if it's something that speaks to that. If it's maternal health, you talk about it,
yes.
how it speaks to that. So
Mm,
what impact is it having? If it is quality of
mm,
services, diagnosis that leads to improved patient care, you talk about it.
mm,
Increase life
mm,
expectancy, you talk about it. So this is what they want to
mm,
see here. Okay, next.
okay. Mhm,
What is the aim and objective? Okay, explain briefly what you hope to achieve in participating in this program. So there's a lot of reason why so many of you are applying. Like I can see
mm,
that from what I saw on the questions. So they want to
mm,
see it here. What are those things, the reasons why you're applying for this?
mm,
Okay, put them down there, and sincerely
yes.
too. Okay. Then the next stage is
Mm,
business skills. Select a business skill you want to
mm,
learn about. Okay, so let's see the drop down.
mm,
So I want to believe this section is will speak to what you will now learn in the second stage. So you can see them here. You have business analytic,
Mm.
project management, and financial analytic. So
Mm.
you can decide on which one you want to go for. If you know you don't know anything about finance, better select that one. Select that one. Business analytics, you can always pick it anywhere. Or project
Mm.
management. Maybe some of us have even done some project management courses by the
Project
nature
management.
of the
Mm.
being health professionals, right? So for health
Mm.
professionals, I will always advise, if these are the three options, go for finance because we have F9 in that one. Most times we don't know much about, pardon me for using that, but you know where I'm going to, okay? Except maybe
Yeah.
if you've done some financial courses, then that's fine. But I know that most of us, we don't go for
Yeah.
finance because you can always pick project
That's actually
management.
not. It's not actually abuse. It's the reality because we
It's the
didn't do commerce
reality.
and
We didn't do it in school.
accounts when we were in school.
Yes.
So if I were to pick, that
Yes.
is what I would pick: financial analytics. Because
Exactly.
I don't know much about it. I
About
may know a
figures.
bit of project management, even
Mhm.
business analytics. Some of it I could have picked up
Exactly.
from some of the courses
Yes.
I've taken.
You have
But that
done.
finance
Beautiful.
aspect, that's what
Ah,
most of us don't know
wahala.
much about.
Yes.
Mm.
So you need to understand because why it's important is that when you're discussing business, there are technical terms you need to know. You need to understand what
Mm.
a cash flow is. You need to understand why the cash flow is where it is. You need to understand the difference between
Mm.
income statement and cash flow because if you look at the two, you think they are the same, but they are not. You
Mm.
need to understand the
Mm.
balance sheet. So that next time when you see a company report, you will not jump and pass. You know that part of the paper, most of us will just jump and pass. But when you do a
Yeah.
course like this, when you
Mhm.
see a company report, you'll be interested because you now understand. Sometimes they will
Mm.
ask you things like break-even ratio, return on investment,
Mm.
fixed cost, variable cost, um, what else again? Depreciation, EBITDA,
Mm.
EBIT, ROI, return on investment, return on
Investment.
equity, retained earnings. How many of us know what all these things are? All these things I've talked about. Even this direct cost I was talking about, an
Mm.
indirect cost.
Mm.
Okay, so our advice
Mm.
for our colleagues, go for either financial analytic or business analytic. If you know you've done a business
Business
course,
analytics.
just go for financial analytic. If you know you've not done business
Analytics.
analytic course, then you may wish to consider that. Okay, especially maybe if you know you're going to get an accountant, if you have an accountant already. Let's say, for instance, you have an accountant already that is going to
Already. Okay.
help in your business, then you can now decide to
Mm.
do business analytic if you've done not done anything at all
Mm.
about business analytic.
Mm.
Okay, all right. But if you know you don't have,
Okay.
oh, respect yourself and go for financial analytic, and you thank me later.
Mm.
All right. There's nothing as painful as being a business owner and your accountants even will be stealing from you because they know you don't know.
Mm.
They
Mm.
know you don't know.
Mm.
So they'll just be
Mm.
using the thing and dabaru your face, using blowing big grammar and numbers for you. But when you go for such things, then you at least you should be able to understand. Okay? All right.
Understand.
So
Mm.
mentor, if you already
That
have a
was what
mentor, would you
Robert
like to engage
Kiyosaki was
them?
even saying. Mm.
Okay. Okay.
I
So you
said
see,
that was
so
what
that's
Robert
it.
Kiyosaki was saying, that you must learn the numbers so that you can do well in business.
Exactly. You can't do business without knowing numbers. It's not possible. They will
Mm.
so deal with you, either finance people, your staff, your inventory
Mm.
people, or tax people. They will deal with you because they know you don't know.
Mm.
But when you know, then you can
Mm.
stand and say one or two things. Okay, all right.
Okay.
So
Mm.
mentor, if you already have a
Okay.
mentor and would like to engage them on, I don't, okay, this place is cut off for for consideration. You put in their name. So if you know you have somebody you look up to in the industry of the business you are doing, and you like to have that person engage there,
Mm.
probably they want to now engage the person for the
Mm.
program. You put in the person's name here,
Yeah.
put in the address. You don't need
Mm.
to know in the full address. If you know where the person is living, the town, that's enough. Put in the town and the state under that address. Okay,
Mm.
put in the person's
Okay.
occupation and put in the email.
Mm.
And then of course you can see phone number. I'm suspecting that thing should be, that
Mm.
select should be for code. That's what I'm suspecting.
Mm.
It should be for code. And then you put in the other number there. Then the next one is, how did you hear about the program? Then you select. Usually it will be social media, referral, friend, all those things, whichever one you select. Next, time
Mm.
availability. Let's go to time availability.
Is it showing, ma?
Yes, it's showing now. If you
All right.
accepted, will
Okay.
you work full time on this business? I think that should be business plan. So you select yes or no. Then the next question is, have you taken part in any entrepreneurship program, accelerator program, or received any angel investment or grant in the past year? That's this program
Mm.
is an accelerator program. So that's what they mean. Whether
Mm.
you've been taken somewhere where you went for training and they gave you money. Angel investment is the same thing as they give you money without asking for
Mm.
payments back. That's
Mm.
what an angel
Mm.
investment is. Yes, it's the same thing as
Mm.
a grant. So that's what they're asking.
Right.
Have you had such a thing before? So you put it in there.
Mm.
Next.
Mm.
Next.
Okay. So that's it.
Okay. Previous accelerators. Have you taken part? Okay, we've done that one.
Mm.
Okay, skip. We've done this place too. Skip.
So that's it for the business aspect, ma. So it's now going to be the
Oh, that's
personality
the end.
assessment that followed. Yes, it will be
Ah,
the personality
okay.
assessment that followed. But I couldn't
Oh,
submit
so that's the
this.
end.
I didn't submit
Okay,
this, so I can't give the personality assessment
that's
questions.
fine.
And besides, that one doesn't really.
It
It's
doesn't need
unique to
any
each
academic
person.
exercise. Yes,
Yes.
it's just what you do simple things you do every day. They want to know the type of person
Yes.
that you are.
There
So,
you
my dear
are.
colleagues,
Mm.
we've come to the end, and I hope you've gotten some insights on what to do. So, I don't know. Are we looking at the questions right away?
Yes, I think we should, ma. Because
Okay.
okay, I wasn't able to inform some other groups that we started, but the group I informed, some people joined. So when we finish, I will post the links back out again for people to watch. They
Okay,
might
that's
watch it
fine.
tomorrow morning or so.
Okay.
So it was only one group I was able to tell them that we are on now before I logged back on.
Okay. All right. So
So let's take the
let's
questions
get
we have,
to.
ma. Yes, ma.
Okay, so let's look at the questions. So the first question here is, how can I get grant if my institution is a monotech?
Mm.
The spelling here wasn't correct, but a monotech means maybe you are teaching only one thing or you are doing only one thing. That's what mono means. I mean, the stipulations are here, so you go ahead and apply. Or if the monotech I understand here is what like an educational institution, then you have to
Mm.
find out other grant. There are many grants that are available that speak to
Mm.
that. I doubt if Tony Elumelu Fund will speak to that kind of business. So the person will have to find out. Okay, person will
It
have to find
depends
out.
on
But
it
if the
depends on if the
monotech,
person is able to prove that that monotech has social value or social impact value. If it's a
exactly,
monotechnic,
exactly.
if it's a monotechnic
Mm-hmm.
for, let's say, community health workers, you know that that is
Of
something
course, you
that
could
can
fly.
actually, yes, impact the
Yes,
community.
you can
So,
fly. I'm saying
mm,
maybe if it's something that doesn't have to do with health, with that, like you said, have
mm,
an impact rather. Let me put it that way.
yeah,
I'm not sure
mm,
it will fly, but if it will have an impact, it will fly. It
yes.
will fly. Then the next question: why is it always difficult to receive grants by a candidate who has never received grant? Because you have not tried before. There's always a first time. So you keep trying, like the song said, dust yourself up and try again. So you keep on, because when
Mm,
you keep applying, then come for trainings like this, you not say, oh, is this the reason why I didn't get this thing that time? I'm going to do it better. Because I know some people must
mm,
have been having like light bulb moments here, right? Oh,
mm,
this is the reason. Oh, this is the reason. Okay. So you
mm.
need some knowledge, really. That's why I always tell people, go for business trainings. They will help
Training.
you to in feeling things like this. Okay.
Mm,
Yeah. So there's a first time. So if you don't get it right the first time, keep trying. You will
mm,
I'll actually get it if you do they write them. What are the essential elements of a well-written grant proposal? Well, these days, grants for business owners, they try to make it easy. You don't have to write anything. They'll just give you form to fill,
Mm.
like this Tony Elumelu. Okay, it's if it's let's say grant for a project work in the lab, that one you need to write it, but that's not what this class is about. This
Mm.
class is about business grants. So if the person is talking about grant for laboratory work, it doesn't cut out here. Most business grants, they know business people don't have time to write. They don't even know how to write. So that's why they have devised this form method. So once you fill it up, you have already set up a good grant proposal if
Proposal.
you know and understand what
How
to
to
fill in,
answer the
like we have done.
question. That's true.
Exactly.
Mm.
The next question, do you need the capacity to fulfill the requirements for a grant before applying? Or
Mm.
is it sufficient to include a plan to meet the requirements of the grant as part of the application? If they have
Mm.
given you requirements, you must meet the requirement. That is why they are called requirements.
Requirement.
So
Mm.
try to meet up the requirements. If you don't, then you have to wait till next year, because I learned this one is closing on the 1st. So you wait till next year when you are going to meet the requirement. There's a reason why they ask for those requirements. If they don't, then to be a free for all thing. Okay? All right.
Mm.
So let's move on.
But
Next question.
ma, ma,
Yes.
I think this question that the person asked, I have experienced it that then this Generation Africa um funded training I got in 2019. When I was interviewed, they asked if I'd gotten my passport, my international passport, but my passport was due for renewal. So I told them I'd applied for a renewal and would go for the interview and get it before the training would have to take place. I think the training was in June and the interview was sometimes around March. So I eventually got my passport around April, then went for the visa interview and then went for the sponsored training too. So I think if the person is able to put that, okay, I have already applied for this or I've already gotten this plan in place for this particular requirement, if it's not like a major requirement, they might still be considered for something. If it's not like, okay, like somebody that doesn't have maybe some of the requirements that they talked about in the business was the important ones, like, okay, you must have your business documents if you said you are already running. But I'm trying to
That's the
think
point.
of,
That's the point I'm trying to make.
okay.
Those ones that they've told you must have. If you don't have it, they
Mhm.
won't consider you. If
Okay.
you have said, that's why you have to be careful about what you select. If you say you're
Mm.
already an existing business, and if you notice, you can't even submit it because it's marked asterisk. So if you've
Mm.
selected the existing business, then
Mm.
they've created column for you. If you're existing, you should have registered. So you
Mm.
can't even submit, because if I can remember,
Mm.
that place is compulsory. So you should
Mm.
have your certificates. And
Mm.
once you have your certificate, you have your memat, you have your status. Or is
Mm.
this something like NIN or
Mm.
driving license, ID, and you leave that place open? It can't work now.
Okay.
It cannot work. So all
Mm.
those statutory requirements, that one is automatic. If you don't fill it in, you can't even continue.
Continue. Okay.
But if it is others, then that one is not a problem. You cannot, just like
Okay.
you said, mention it and then continue. But what the ones I'm talking about are the stipulated requirements on
Listed
the
one. Okay.
application. Yes, those are
Okay,
the
ma.
ones I'm talking about.
Okay,
All
ma.
right. So we move on. How much can they give at a time? The
Mm.
price is $5,000.
Dollars
That's
for
what
training and
the
training.
yes,
Mm.
that's what the one-time grant
Mm.
is. And the good thing about Tony Elumelu is that if you do well with that $5,000, they can link you up to more funds
Yeah.
thereafter. Yeah, so that's the
Mm.
good thing about them.
Mm.
Then the next question, what is the most common error that applicants make on grant applications? Just all these
Mm.
things I've been talking about. But the most important one, like I said, not reading instructions. Not reading instructions. In fact, what I do when I'm filling
Mm.
a form is I read it first and then keep it.
Mm.
And then come back again and do what? Read it again. Because The first time you are reading it, you may be excited. And you will see some certain things. So it's best. Read it that time first while you're excited. Then secondly, come back again, read it again, and see if there's anything you missed that time you were excited. And when you're not doing the second one, you'll be taking note of all the things you need to upload. Take notes of all the things you need to upload. Then get all of them, gather them on your phone or your laptop before you can now start applying. So from experience, what the errors people make is they don't follow instruction. They don't follow instruction. Okay.
So
Then, is the grant to be refunded? A grant is never refunded. Once you hear grant, just know it is free money. Okay? Once you hear grant, free money. That is why they are asking you all these questions. But if it is loan, don't you see the different loan apps? Once you go fill in, they'll give you and start collecting their interest. So grant is free money, you don't pay back. What's the maximum grant? $5,000. I've already mentioned that. And then, what are the terms and conditions? We've already looked at them, and then you see more of them when you go to the site. Okay, so they are listed there. So take your time and look at them. And then how to prepare a catchy proposal summary, or what we call executive summary. Okay, this is the last question. So when you are asked for an executive summary, your executive summary should not be more than 3/4 of a page. Excuse me. And let me give you a guide as to why, or rather as to what an executive summary is. An executive summary is equal to the abstract you wrote in your project in your final year. It is that first thing that is seen on your business plan or your feasibility report. Just like it is the first thing seen on your project work, your research work. But remember, you write your abstract last. I hope you remember. When you're doing your research work, your abstract is the last. So the same thing with your executive summary, it is the last. So that is where you're going to talk about your business. Very catchy, because that's the first thing the person reading your business plan is going to see. So if you're going to submit a business plan for a business, please take note of your executive summary. That's the first thing the person will see. So you talk about the business, talk about your USP, talk about your competitive advantage, talk about what you see in the future for the business. These are the things that they need to see in your executive summary. A nutshell about what your business is about and why you're asking for the money. So that is what an executive summary is. Okay. So that's the last question. So I think we've come to the end, except maybe if there are questions online on that. I don't know, maybe on YouTube.
There was
you seeing any
question now. What's the commonest mistakes that people make on grant proposals or so? I saw that.
Yes, that's the one I just
Common
answered.
mistake.
That is not keeping to instructions. Not keeping to instructions.
Okay, that's like the commonest mistake. Okay,
yes,
all right,
people don't keep to instructions.
Not keep
yes, they don't keep to instructions.
Okay.
Yes. What else? Is there any other question online?
Thank you very much, Ma, for your. Let me check the comments now. I'm seeing. I'm not seeing any comments. Any questions?
Okay.
Let me ask.
Okay.
Any other questions? I can't see any other questions on the YouTube chat, but we just asked now. So if somebody's typing, let me just say they can direct the questions when we send this live stream recording to their emails. They can direct the question back to email or to the WhatsApp groups. If we're able to see it in any of the WhatsApp groups, then if it's still something you can answer, you would help. Thank you very much, Ma. It has been a detailed one. We spent 90 minutes. It's 1 hour,
Yes,
29
90
minutes
minutes.
live.
1 hour.
Yes,
Mm-hmm,
well, it has
mm-hmm,
really been a
mm-hmm.
detailed one.
Well, but worth
Thank
it.
you very much, ma.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, ma. I
Yeah,
sincerely
welcome.
appreciate it because
Well
I've
done for
also
all you
learned
do.
something. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. I've also learned something new. And because when I was thinking of competition, I was thinking that government policy was actually like the question what they were
No,
asking for. But I've learned tonight that that is actually
no.
business environment. That is something like maybe government
Yes. So you
facilities
can talk
that should be
about
put
that
there.
under your
Mhm.
challenges. Yes, you
Under the
can talk about it
challenges.
under your challenges. Since there's no portion here
Okay.
for business environment. But
Environment.
if you see anywhere they ask for business environment, that's where it will come. That's where policies come under.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma. I'm going to watch this video again tomorrow because definitely I know that there will be some things that would have been missed out maybe while listening and talking too. So I will just listen to it tomorrow and then be able to use it better for answering the remaining questions that needs to be answered. So thank you once more, ma. And I
That's
don't know if you have any passing
You're
words
welcome.
for others who will be watching this. We still have 7 people on the live stream, but they didn't ask a question.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Well done.
Thank you,
And
ma.
good night, everyone. And
All right.
I feel fulfilled talking to all of you. Okay. All right.
Thank you
Bye.
so much, ma. Bye, ma.